year. If you look at all the 20 in the top 10 in terms of points going down, rebounds are down, blocks are down. He's not playing as well as we're accustomed to. You'd think this would be a year of ascension for him coming off the championship, $1 million extension. To me, it's more of either a plateau or a recession. And the question is, be concerned? Or is this a guy who recognizes that it's all about postseason performance, so he doesn't have to worry about?
Richard, are you concerned about AD's slower start?
No, I'm not, because when you go through that long run and you run a championship, I'm not saying that players coast the next year, but oftentimes you will see guys kind of build up, right? Just before LeBron had that monstrous game about a week or two ago, he was averaging like 22 points a game, just under 23 a game. And I texted him, I was like, dude, like, what's going on? You're not going to average 25 this year? And then slowly but surely he's been picking it up over the last couple of weeks. And so I think a lot of times when you had such a short off season, guys aren't looking to start off the first 30, 40 games just banging their body, being super aggressive. They want to build into it. I always notice, even playing with Bron, he posts up more as the season progresses and as he gets into the postseason. Doesn't post up nearly as much in the first third of the season to kind of conserve some of the wear and tear on his body. So I'm not concerned. I always look at their record, how their offense is, and how their defense is. And the Lakers' offense, team defense, all of that stuff is moving in the right direction. So I'm less concerned with AD's individual stats.
Well, there's been some question about how much he's deferring a little bit to try to involve some of his new teammates, right? I mean, his shot attempts even are down. But the new lineups, they're interesting. The Lakers played something in crunch time against the Hawks that was pretty cool. LeBron, Trez, Caruso, Kuz, and Talen Horton Tucker, Dave. What do you think of that lineup and what we will see of it going forward?
Yeah, Rachel, first of all, we got
to let Dave speak, Richard. Come on.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were still. Dave's back. My bad.
Were you not paying attention? Were you just going and liking those Instagram photos of our girl?
I have not paid attention at all.
It's been years.
Lineups only played 32 minutes together. Defensive lineup in the NBA this season in terms of point differential. And we got to come up with a nickname, maybe the D5, because that group together are so potent defensively. They're able to defensive deflections their end because LeBron is a guy who's a freight train when he's in transition. And so that's a group that Frank Vogel has unearthed. Wes Matthews and Markieff Morris. A really tough decision for a coach to take two guys who had other offers on the free agency market this past summer, who came to LA to try to be part of a repeat championship group, and recognize that sometimes by not playing those guys.
Richard, now, Dave's frozen into silence. So go ahead, my friend, please.
Oh, I can talk now? I'm allowed to talk? Okay, my bad.
If it were up to me, you'd be talking this entire hour. But
No. I'm just giving Dave a little bit of mess. No, ultimately, I think, we talk about this so much with all the teams in the league. The first third of the season, it's all about figuring out who your new players are, how that you can, get them in the system, how they're acclimating to the system. I love it when you see coaches find these random defensive lineups that can work. I think that gives, the coach another opportunity to be like, hey, if we're playing against a really small team, or if we're down 15 to start the second half, like, what can I do to pick up our defense? Certain things. And because when you look around this league, there are some very potent offensive teams that you could potentially go against. And so you want to be able to have very, very good defensive lineups. And shout out to Frank Vogel and his staff for finding a very, very good one.
Well, this was one of the reasons we love the offseason that the Lakers had so much. They gave them more dexterity, right? And you saw the offensive numbers drop when they have those guys on the floor, but the ability to put in lineups that can match the situation. I think the Lakers have more of that than they did even their championship season last season, which makes them very dangerous. All right, up next, we're going to preview tonight's matchup between the Hawks and the Mavericks. Should we expect to see fireworks from Luka Doncic and Trae Young? First, though, time for our second distant replay of the day. So, Richard, this one's from 2012, featuring the Miami Heatles.
Scored the Sixers 31-10.
Oh, the Heatles.
Since the game was tied at 61.
And they're a 2-game losing streak with the win last night in Golden State. Boston dropping to 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're now 5-5 in their last 10 games. Richard, do you think they're back on track with this win, or do you think the fact Marcus Smart is going to be out for a little while, they're still going to be a little shaky these next week or two?
Oh, I think they're going. I think the Boston Celtics are going to be just fine. I think getting Marcus Smart is obviously key to their long-term success. But I think right now they have more than enough to be successful throughout this rest of the season.
It's a big minutes from Grant Williams in that Warriors game. We just saw him hit some threes on the screen there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Kemba Walker still working his way back into the lineup. He had that 1 for 12 shooting night against the Lakers, but he said that he wants to be able to fit in where he gets in and allow Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to continue their success. I see Celtics as one of the 2 teams that could actually give the Nets a run for their money in the playoffs, them and Philly.
Yeah, I mean, look, long defenders, right? I mean, that's kind of what it's all going to be about now in the Eastern Conference. All right, I want to get, though, to this League Pass game of the night. There's a lot of games on the NBA slate, friends, but our producers went with Mavericks at Hawks, 7:30 Eastern. 1 of 10 games, but Luka and the Mavs in Atlanta taking on Trae Young and the Hawks. So much more than the old Luka versus Trae storyline. That's the 2018 draft. We can put that to bed now. We know who both of these players are. Let's talk more about the teams, because the Mavs started the year with high expectations. They have been free-falling in the West playoff standings, gentlemen. 6-game losing streak they're on. Remember last week we heard Luka make interesting public comments, questioning his team's desire to win. Meanwhile, the Hawks, 6th in the East, looking to bounce back from that loss to the Lakers that you covered, Dave. What are your expectations for this game tonight, Dave?
You know, you would say the Mavericks could think this would be a game they can get back on track. It's a 500 team in the East, a young team that hasn't figured out winning yet. But I think there's going to be another tough one for Dallas. You know, right now they're playing with such camaraderie. I watched them play the Lakers the other night, and you saw guys playing with purpose. Trae Young, there was some chatter earlier in the year that John Collins didn't really like the way he was fitting in with that group. But right now they are a group with purpose, and I think this is going to be a tough one for the Mavericks.
What do you got, Richard?
Well, I think this game is just going to be fun, to tell you the truth. There's very few regular season games that you can kind of look at and say, hey, this is one that you really want to tune in because of the matchups. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks have kind of underachieved, and greatness is hard. It's very hard to do it over long periods of time. Do I think they're going to be fine with Luka and Porzingis and that crew? Yes. But I think the Atlanta Hawks have a very good opportunity. When a team is struggling, the number one goal for you is to keep them struggling.
Yeah, and look, the Mavericks have lost a couple of those games lately, really close, that last second finish to the Suns. But as Yogi Berra once said, it's getting late early for that team. They're not just in playoff contention, they're not even